Well, you know, Charlie on the Wally has been giving me some reports, some, well, not so good reports in nature. And, well, I might think that they're not so good, but maybe they're good reports. Who knows? But anyway, Charlie on the Wally said that, well, they've been seeing people with passages of the Bible on their cars. You know, whole passages about repenting and atonement. We've been talking about repent and atonement. So, well, maybe the good news is starting to spread out there. Keep me informed, Charlie. Charlie on the Wally, well, Charlie on the Wally got upset when Charlie saw this. Said, well, they went off. Well, they said some things. And I asked Charlie, Charlie, what did you say? What happened? Because I always got to figure out what Charlie said. What tipped Charlie off? And well, it was about atonement and repenting. And something about God loving everybody and doesn't want to see anybody perish. And well, Charlie, well, as Charlie was supposedly driving, Charlie said that, well, Charlie told me that shouts were made about, well, if everything is so Christian, how can you have a knee on a man's neck for 9 minutes and 22 seconds? That really sounds Christian to me. Apparently something like that is what Charlie said. Anyway, I want to talk about something, well, that I also saw recently. It was an interview with CNN's Breonna Keeler and, well, Reverend Franklin Graham, you know. And, well, apparently there's a lot of hesitancy in the white evangelical community to take the vaccine. Well, you know, I sort of kind of want everybody to get vaccinated. So I'm of mixed minds about this. And I'll tell you why. I'll try to be nice, but, well, you know, niceties nowadays, well, they run the gambit. But I'll try to be nice. Remember, I'm going to try. I didn't say I would be. Anyway, well, he was making the case that, well, the white evangelical Christian community should take the vaccine because COVID-19 is far worse than getting the vaccination. And, well, in that agreement, we see eye to eye. We both believe that. And apparently he and his wife have been fully vaccinated. Congratulations. You know, I don't wish misery on anybody, but, you know, there's certainly people that go around wishing misery on us. They have been for centuries. And, well, I'm glad that we joined the club. See, the Purple People's Owl was vaccinated as well. We're fully vaccinated too. So we have something in common. It's always nice to start out with the things that you have in common with people that you don't like. That makes the things that you have not in common go over more smoothly. That's a tip in life. Now let's get to the things that we don't have in common. Well, the interview continued because, well, there was more than just the vaccination. There's way more than just the vaccination. That's a minute step, Reverend. That's a small step. Everybody should be willing to make that step. But see, you people over there, you people, you're heretics. You're lunatics. You're not well, deeply unwell in nature. And, well, for you convincing your group to take a vaccination that everybody says is, well, 95% efficacy, 98% efficacy, well, you know that 2% that they can't verify is how your people think. It must be the microchip. It must be the mark of the beast, you know? Because the beast is going to definitely come and stick a vaccination in your arm. Yeah, that's something that the beast does. Complete another bullshit. You know, like the bullshit they've been telling since the 15th century. But I digress. Anyway, well, wouldn't you know, we have a differences of agreement on ideology. And, well, Reverend Franklin Graham didn't want to admit that he was a liar. Yeah, you heard me. I said he didn't want to admit on national television that he's a liar. Why do I say that? Because Franklin Graham, after the election didn't go the way that the white evangelical community wanted it to go, where we re-elect Adolf Hitler to a second term as president of the United States. No, the American people didn't re-elect Adolf Hitler. And so the white evangelical community threw a hissy fit. And Franklin Graham, being the official spokesperson of that community, he went on his rounds and told everybody that the election was stolen. It was a rigged election. It was unfair. He lied. And Breonna Keeler was trying to ask him questions about, do you take back your statement in saying that the election was not fair? It was rigged. It was stolen. Because a lot of people now believe that that's the case. You look at what the shit show is in Maricopa County, what they're doing, that hoopla. A lot of those people believe that the election was stolen from Donald Trump. And Donald Trump continues to, tell the big lie that he didn't lose the election. It was stolen from him. And wouldn't you know, Franklin Graham, a liar and a snake, he tried to have his cake and eat it too. He tried to slither out of it. He said, Joe Biden is president now. And we should just move on. We can just tell lies as white evangelicals. And then we should just move on. And never, question the liars who tell lies. Because, they've been the grandfathers and the fathers of all the lies on the planet Earth. Those people. Anyway, he just wants us to move on. And I'm fine with that. Only problem is, the KKK and the Nazis, the white supremacists and the Confederates, they don't really plan on wanting to move on. And his own group, the Christians, the white evangelical Christians, they don't really want to move on either. They still want to contest an election that happened, probably now about 9 or 10 months ago. Something like that. Anyway, Franklin Graham was called out on his bullshit. He didn't want to apologize. Let me tell you, in baseball, you have 3 strikes and you're out at the goal ball game. And, let me just count which strike we're on. Because, it's good to keep track of the strikes, the balls and the strikes. Strike 1 was probably back in the 15th century when, you came up with a revision, retake on the whole thing. That was probably strike 1. And wouldn't you know, it took you a long time to get to strike 2. And strike 2 was, behavior. How you treated people. That was strike 2. 1619, 1492, 1776, and all the years prior, the Crusades. Bad behavior and bad treatment. That was probably strike 2 for the church. And wouldn't you know, you finally hit out. You're finally out at the old ball game. Because strike 3 was, making a deal with Adolf Hitler. The same way you did the first time. But this time you made it in sneaking, in private. You made a false deal. You shook hands. A really bad deal in nature. You went with the guy that gave you the art of the deal. And he gave you a good deal. A good deal for himself. But now not such a good deal for you. You know what the deal was. If he becomes president, you get to act out your racist tendencies towards people you've never liked. Like the black people, like the women that won't obey, the master at home. You get to act out your retribution on those people. Just like you did in, back in 1619, when you had the churches over the dungeons in Tanzania and Ghana. Memory is not short for us. We have a long memory. And we remember a lot of cruelty, all committed by the church. They're always quick to talk about the Luciferians and the Satanists. But all the bad things that really have been committed on the planet have come from Christians. You ought to wonder why they talk about Satanists so bad. It's they wear black. Everybody's scared of black. Maybe they should change colors. Wear purple now. Maybe they won't be so scared of purple. I don't know, it's still dark. It's not white. They had to stretch out there. You know, practicing for, well, the Olympics. Quickly coming up. Speaking of which, what's happening in Japan? Only 1% of your population is vaccinated, and you're going to have an Olympics with spectators? I don't do large crowds, especially when you can't vaccinate your people. Get it together, Tokyo. Anyway, yeah, Franklin Graham, the big lie. Did Donald Trump, well, did he won an election that you know he lost? The election was stolen, rigged. You know, the big lie. You still support it. And well, wouldn't you know, nobody else does. That was strike three. You know, you guys have convinced yourself that Adolf Hitler is Jesus Christ. You know, and that's not really surprising. Based off of your track record, you convince yourself that, well, having churches above dungeons where babies and women are kept in dungeons, sleeping on their feces, naked, chained to each other, you know, you convince yourself that Jesus loved that too. And now, well, now you want to talk about repentance and atonement. Now you want to talk about, well, how you're not liars, how you're nice people. You know, track record states otherwise. You're not nice. Nobody thinks you're nice. And I heard that nobody even goes to your churches anymore. Who wants to sit in a filthy place amongst filthy people? Really? I don't think so. And I heard that your idol that you worship never even went to church. Didn't like the treatment of how you treated, well, little old ladies. And well, the second time upon going, well, kind of ransacked you sons of bitches. Kind of flipped out tables. Told you what horrible people you are. And well, the third time, well, we know how the story goes. You got the cross out. You know, times change. People don't. And especially institutions like the white evangelical Christian church. You guys never change. You gals never change. You always remain the same. And well, the game's afoot. Reverend Franklin Graham, I'm happy that you got vaccinated. Well, try to convince your other people to get vaccinated. You know, maybe have the Frankenstein that you created, Adolf Hitler. Maybe have him go out there and speak at a campaign rally, a KKK rally. I heard he's starting back. Maybe tell the KKK members, you know, it'd be best if you got vaccinated because this winter, if this vaccine, if a variant comes, you could get sick and end up on a ventilator, you know. It actually, COVID-19, I think it affects Nazis the same way it affects everybody else. You know, you wouldn't want to end up on a ventilator. So maybe have that as the starting point at the KKK rallies that he's fixing to start back up. You know, maybe convince the homeboy, the hombre, that he needs to do a good service, a good deed. Get your people vaccinated. Well, because you wouldn't want to all be ending up on like a ventilator, you know. Such a terrible way to go, not being able to breathe. Sort of kind of like what happened with George Floyd and Derek Chauvin, where George Floyd couldn't breathe for 9 minutes and 22 seconds. You don't want to have that same fate. So go ahead and get your vaccination. I mean your microchip. Well, your vaccination. But it might have a microchip in there. Who knows? Anyway, we're all going to die anyway. I just don't want to go wherever the hell you're going. So if you think that you're going to heaven, I certainly want to go to hell. Because it would be no fun with you sons of bitches.